Ordinance number 4282, authorize a bond ordinance in the amount of $2,200,000 with a down payment of $110,000 for a synthetic turf field and improvements to the O'Brien Field.
You heard the reading of ordinance number 4282. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Any comments?
President,
Councilman Mazza.
as I promised you during the pre-council meeting, I had a meeting with Mr. Papari, in which, according to the letter, the Director of Public Works had certain recommendations. Today I had a meeting with Mr. Papari also, and we went over certain details pertaining to the project. Mr. Papari advised me that this is only an estimation type of a figure in order to carry on some improvement to the O'Brien Field, in which it is located in my ward and it is located in the proximity of my area, and in which I also spent over 47 years living in the area of O'Brien Field. I still have some questions that needs to be answered. Once we allocated the money, and I would like to know what is the cost effective to the taxpayer, whether we are providing this expenses either through Green Acres funding or bonding. And if we do bonding, and eventually it's going to take time, it's not going to happen overnight. It appears to be within the rush of the city council at a pre-council meeting. We either do, otherwise we're going to lose the lottery ticket or the winning of the lottery draw. It might take a couple of years, and if this project goes through, once upon I will have input as the ward councilman. Once I will have the community in the area input, whether it's logistically to spend $2,200,000 taxpayers' money, and what are we going to be getting in return? When I will see some input from the community, whether we're going to have, let's say, redone of the sidewalk or redone of the field, where there might be contamination on the dirt, because years ago, as they were providing, when the sticky fingers they used to play baseball into the O'Brien Field, many years ago they used to actually spray some kind of products in order to keep the dust down or whatever. And then at the end, the input of the people that are nearby. And I would like to have my own input as a council. For instance, at one time we have lights. Might be the people should agree whether we should have lights. And some evening in case we would like to have some kind of a night game or some kind of a festivity or music concert or some kind of a get-together within the community into O'Brien Field. And like I mentioned at a pre-council meeting, there's been every other wards where money was spent and millions of dollars. I'm happy to see that somebody saw the light at the end of the tunnel, Mr. President, and that, within 2-3 years from now, money will be spent wisely if it's so, and the people agree to do so also. So I'm not going to be the one to stop this project. I'm looking forward to see this project being complete as soon as possible, but we have to see the cost effective. Are the people in favor of it? I want to get some input. And once we approve this money, I would like to, as a councilman, to know exactly what's happening day in and day out. Because this is only an estimation, might be 1 or 2 members of the administration, in which I'm also, all of us, we are members of the administration. But I never saw, Mr. President, and I appreciate your support at the pre-council meeting to allow me to work. In 3 days notice, I have to be able to make a decision of over $2.5 million plus, maybe once the project is done. So I am in favor that the project will go through, but there still are some questions to be answered.
Okay, thank you,
Mr. President.
Are there any other comments?
I do, Mr. President.
Councilman Rhoda?
Thank you. I just wanted to, I understand the project that's happening in the 6th Ward. Appreciate you councilman's comments. I can tell you from my experience, the synthetic turf is the way to go in today's community, in today's society. We built, as all of you know, back in '98, 2 beautiful soccer/football fields on the waterfront, and because of the enormous amount of use that those fields have had over the years, we could never keep grass in those fields. And they've always, year in and year out, as much money as we spent putting new seed down, the grass was always gone. And so I believe that the move for the future is to put synthetic turf on all fields. I'm glad to see we're doing O'Brien Field. Hopefully we can do all the fields in Elizabeth in the years to come. I also, the Commissioner's still here, I also encourage the Board of Education to move in that direction. I know they're looking to do Westminster Academy. Hopefully they can do School 22. But there's a lot of fields that the Board also owns that are not city-owned properties. And I think between all of us, if we can move in that direction, get all of our fields in Elizabeth to go to the synthetic turf, it'll allow for more playtime for everyone and give our kids more opportunity to play in organized sports. Thank you.
Are there any comments?
Yes.
Yeah, Councilwoman, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to thank the administration for putting this before us tonight in terms of the synthetic turf field. I also want to thank my colleague, Councilman Ed Jackers, who urged us as a city to go to synthetic fields maybe about 12, 14 years ago. And he was right on the mark then, and like with so many other things, he brought before the city. But the idea of the administration and all this economic times that we're in, who can find money and resources to still think about the children in terms of developing this synthetic field. It just says that they're right on the money. And I just say, want you to know, Mr. President, that you have my support on this tonight. Councilman Massa, it's a good thing. We've been talking about synthetic fields for a long time on this council, and it's the wave of the future. It's something positive for youth. It's organized sports, and you know, anytime the administration can come up with ways of providing wholesome recreation for youth, I'm there with it. So.
Mr. President.
Yes. Councilman Long.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to echo some of the things that Councilman from the First Ward said, and also from the Sixth Ward. You know, my past experience with the turf fields, regular turf, it's unethical that you go to synthetic turf because the amount of time, downtime you have regular turf compared to synthetic turf is overwhelming. You know, it's a win-win situation for the synthetic turf because if you look at the soccer fields on regular turf compared to synthetic turf, where you know these soccer players, they usually wear right down the middle or right in front of their goal posts. With synthetic turf, Councilman from the city, but you won't have that problem no more. So the kids will be able to use that field much often, and they'll be easy to maintain. It's a little expensive in the beginning, but over the long run, you're going to see, you're going to be well pleased with this synthetic turf, and it's just the way to go. And I just want to congratulate you for allowing this to go through. I'm pretty sure the Director for Public Works will be able to satisfy your answers when you go back to him. So, you know, this is a big step in the right direction for the into the 21st century with the city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are there any comments?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Jackson.
With regards to this, it is I pushed for these synthetic turf fields for many years. Seed just doesn't work. Being a former athlete, playing on Williams Field, it didn't work. It cost a large amount of money to maintain the field. The only problem is with this synthetic turf is that it must be replaced in about 10 years. That's something that this city council and the administration needs to look into. I know the Board of Education's turf field over at Williams Field is just about at the end of its lifetime, and that soon should be replaced also for safety reasons. So as we vote for this, it must be understood that the turf, in order to maintain its safety and value to the people who are using it, it will have to be replaced in about 10 years.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate that insight. Are there any other comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Questa.
Mr. President, last week, when I spoke on behalf of this project, defending the fact that this project should be on the agenda this evening, I was challenged by one of my colleagues who stated that I live in the 3rd Ward and that Councilman Keenan is my councilman. First of all, I'm proud to live in the 3rd Ward, and I'm proud that Joe Keenan is my councilman. But I would like to remind everyone, Mr. President, that I was elected by the people also, and I am a councilman at large, and I represent the entire city. Therefore, it is very appropriate for me to defend any projects introduced by the administration. Mr. President, I think it's important for me to remind some of my friends that I lived in Peterstown for several years. I still have family members who reside in Peterstown. I was the principal of Peterstown School Number 3, now called the James LaCourse School Number 3, for 4 years. I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. I have many friends in the area, and I had every right to defend this project. Mr. President, I know, of course, Councilman Jacobs deserves a lot of credit because for many, many years he's been fighting for recreational facilities in this city. But I want to thank you specifically, Mr. President, because you and I know that we met with Mayor Bowen right before the holidays, and we discussed with him the need for more soccer fields, and we discussed with him the need for more recreational facilities. And as a result of that discussion, he decided to introduce this project at the State of the City address. So I'm very proud to say that I was behind this project from the beginning. And this project is going to benefit students, young men and women who need this park for recreational purposes, so we can get them off the streets, as somebody said before. So this project is extremely important to the city, and I'm happy that I was behind it, and I'm happy that tonight, hopefully, with the support and based on the comments that I heard, I believe that we have the necessary support to approve this project. But finally, Mr. President, I want to commend you, because not only because of this project, I know that you've taken the initiative to talk to the administration about all the areas in the city where we can build even more soccer fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any other comments?
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman Sts.
I just want to take a moment to first thank the administration for bringing this up to the table. But of course, it would be wrong for us not to thank the councilman of the 4th Ward, Frank Mazza, for his dedication and passion. I mean, 6th Ward, I'm sorry, for his dedication and passion. You know, I'm just making sure all of you are on your toes. For his dedication and passion for his community. Something that I know for a fact, Frank Mazza was for this project from the very beginning. I hear Councilman Questa mentioning that he had to defend this project. I know Frank Mazza didn't need for anyone to, he wasn't holding back from this project moving forward. The councilman just wanted more information concerning the project, and I think that he's rightfully due more information. So to use the word defend makes it seem like Councilman Frank Mazza wasn't for this, and that's absolutely wrong. And without question, Councilman Frank Mazza, even though we all are councilmen and councilwomen here in the city, and we all work for our community, he lives within the 6th Ward for 47 years, so it's pretty safe to say that his heartbeat for the community in that neighborhood beats in the rhythm according to what the other people living in that neighborhood feels. So to try to silence his voice or his desire to want to know more information to see what's best for the 6th Ward, I think it's an injustice, just because he should have the right, as the same way any other council person would want, if they would want more information and the input of the community, he should have the right to receive it. So I applaud you, Councilman Mazza, just for your desire, your dedication to the community, and just wanting to do what's right, despite anything else that might be around you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, Councilman Mazza.
Mr. President, just for another point of clarification, if the councilman Elijah met with the mayor pertaining to O'Brien Field, don't you think it's a courtesy to invite the ward councilman in the area that represents that particular ward to be part of your conversation or your study that you made? I hope that you have an engineer also degree, my good friend, and I hope that you also know about quotation and price, and you come up with $2,200,000. What is the sketch? When we do bidding, when we make a budget, what are we looking for in a budget? A, B, C, and D, and we put the amount that we total. How did you arrive at $2.5 million or $2,200,000? And yet, I don't see a drawing, I don't see anything else. A guessing of taxpayers' money, Mr. President? I have no further question, but I am in favor of the project. Even before the alleged councilman happened to defend at the pre-council meeting, it's like if we don't do it, something is going to happen in the city. And I rushed myself to get some answers, but I didn't get all the answers, Mr. President. But I am in favor of the project because it's in my ward. But before we spend this kind of money, I would like to know what actually happened and what discussion took place between the 2 at large, or the 3 at large, or the 4 at large, or whatever, and the mayor before the holiday. Don't you think in the spirit of a holiday we had a party, together, all of us? I should be brought into that type of discussion and then rushing this through. When you rush through things, they never happen to be a good results, according to my experience over the years. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Councilman.
Mr. President,
Councilman. Yes, Councilman Jackson.
I'd like a legal opinion right now on whether we get second shots or second dibs on speaking. I'd like a legal opinion right now by the attorney.
It's up to the chair.
Okay, so you're going to allow everyone now to speak again a second?
I want to say one more comment, Councilman Cuesta, and that will be it.
No. Mr. Mazza has spoken.
Yes.
And Mr. West is going to speak. Then I want to speak again.
I just did allow me to speak, Councilman.
You said a second time, right?
I allowed you to speak a second time, Councilman.
No, I'm asking you. I didn't get a point of order. I need to find out from the attorney. I am not speaking for myself. I need to find out from the attorney whether you're allowed to speak the second time.
And the attorney's response is that that's...
Okay, then I would like another shot at speaking.
Then would you continue?
Not right now. I want to hear what Mr. Questa has to say.
Councilman Jackson, this is your second opportunity. Councilman Mazza had a second opportunity. If you don't take this opportunity, Councilman...
Mr. President, then I pass.
You pass?
Yes. Let Mr. Questa speak and then I'll speak.
You are speaking presently, Councilman.
No, I'm passing. I'm passing to Mr. Questa. I'm allowed to do that.
You're speaking now. If you pass this opportunity, you will not have another opportunity. I want to make that clear.
Well, then you know what, Mr. President, I'm going to have to ask for a legal opinion because I need to know whether or not I can speak again, or if anyone else in this body is able to speak again.
As I said, it's up to the chair.
Okay? Then I won't speak anymore, Mr. President. But you know what? I did want to know about that because I know in the past 19 years, none of the city council members were allowed a second shot at speaking. None.
That's right. True.
That is true.
It's not true.
Except the floor. Exactly. The floor is the only one to be able to speak a second time.
Okay, maybe Councilman Cuesta, and then we will move on.
Yeah, Mr. President, I don't belabor the point. I am not surprised by Councilman Sts defending Councilman Mazza. I'm beginning to get used to that. I don't like the comments he made, but that's okay. He's entitled to make his comments. There's no question about the fact that if I had not pushed last week for this item to be on the agenda tonight, it would have not been on the agenda. And that's a matter of record. The second thing I want to say, Mr. President, is that we recently adopted a budget where we actually cut taxes. And Councilman Mazza voted against it. Councilman Sts was not even there. But Councilman Mazza voted against it. A budget that reduces taxes, and he voted no. Thank you, Mr. President.
Because I'm sick and tired of raising taxes without cutting the budget.
Councilman Mazza, you're out of order.
That's the third time.
Okay,
that live in this city that play soccer. I think we need more soccer fields and more recreational outlets for our students. But this bond ordinance, again, provides the basis, the foundation to be able to move this project forward. And to be able to, put a synthetic field that we're all in agreement with, and to make some of the improvements to that park that the councilman on the board has been pushing for and advocating for. So I think this is a good thing. This is something that's great for the students. It's going to be great for the community. And doing anything less would be an injustice to the city and the residents of the 6th Ward. Thank you, and roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Rowland. Councilman Keenan.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Goldman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
I will pleasure.
President Gonzalez.
Aye, 9 ayes, the ordinance passes. Public hearing and further consideration of the foregoing ordinances shall take place at the City Council meeting to be held Tuesday, February the 14th, 2012 at 7:30 p.m. We will now